Hi, in this video we're going to continue on configuring the desktop for Windows for the ICTNWK408 subject. This is assessment 2 and we're looking at part 4. The assumption is that you've read the network access policy which I have in a PDF here. So there's the network access policy here, which sort of gives you the context, and what we're going to do is talk about this part of it, the password security policy. Now, the password security policy will depend, that this part of it will depend on whether your computer is a member of a domain or whether it's a member of a work group. So if it's a member of a work group, then what we're looking at is the local account policy that we can do. Otherwise, we have to use the group policy manager under Active Directory. So, that's if it's a member of the domain. So either one is the way it's going to work. Looking at our network here, we've got our domain controller. We've got those three actually machines are all members of the domain, whereas this one's just a local machine and not a member of the domain. So I'm principally going to be using both of those machines. So this machine here, log in as the administrator of the domain. And also this machine, I'm going to log in, well, it's already logged in, but it's logged in as a local administrator. And so the differerences will be quite interesting between these two. So I'm just going to put those two to the side like that. Okay, so the first part of this is create a folder on the desktop called Final. So you just go right mouse click New Folder and call it Final. And of course we can do the same thing over on here. New Folder and call it Final. And I'm just going to put that there. And put that there, that'll do. Okay, so we've got directory called Final on either one of those, it doesn't really matter. Now what we need to do is add to the user's path and take a screenshot of your work. Now the way to get to a user's, to get to the path is to look at environment variables. So if you type in environment, you can edit the system environment variables. And there's this little button here called environment variables. And what we need to do is on this path variable, need to edit that and add a new line to it. So we want to add a new line to it. And I'm just going to open this final directory, and by clicking on here I can see what the actual full directory path is. I'm going to copy that, Control C, and I'm going to put that in here, Control V, and go OK. So what I've done here is I have added to the path the C:\users administrator desktop final. So that's now included in the path, and I'm going to Control and save that to the desktop. Okay. So that's relatively easy to do that. Obviously it's identical on here, so just env. Yep, and environment variable, same deal. Let's just control copy that and get the path and edit it, and add a new entry and go control V, done, and you'll see that that's the same thing. Now there's no point in doing it for both, it's the same thing. So that's the easy way to do it. That's this point done. So you would add that to the insert picture. Whoops. Get it from the device, from the desktop. Get the last thing, which is that, and insert it, and that shows your environment variable. There. Okay. So the next thing is to ensure that the password security is enabled and set. It does say here the local password group policy to meet the organizational security requirements, which means set the complexity, maximum age of days is 60, and remember the 10 previous passwords. Local policy. Now if you have a look on Windows 10 that's a member of a domain, and go local security policy here, and I'll even open it as an administrator and have a look and look at the account policies, password policy, and look at the history, and you'll see that this thing is grayed out. Okay, so we can't change it. That's because it's actually done via group policy. It's a member of a domain, so you can't actually mess with the local policies. However, if we're talking about a machine that's not a member of the domain, then you can. Okay, so if we type in local here, and I probably should have gone run as an administrator. And so if we look at the account policies, password policy here, and we're going to look at the passwords that are remembered, and in here we need to set password previous 10. So we're going to go 10 here. There's 10. So we can do that. And 60 days. Change that to a 60. And meet the complexity requirements. That's currently disabled, so we're going to enable that. Okay, so the other thing I should do is, if you explain that, it says that it's got to be a certain number of characters, upper and lower case, digits, non-alphabetic, so enforced when passwords are changed or created. Okay, so it's that sort of stuff. So so these things I can do a control E and send that to the desktop, and in here I'm going to insert picture from the device desktop and get the last VirtualBox screen grab and resize it. Okay, so we've got roughly the same size. Okay, so that covers the first 2 points. The third one is under the command line interface. run the supplied script create user command to create a local user called local user without external logon access. So there's a couple of ways that we can do this. It does say under the command line interface, so and the script that they're talking about is the one that comes as part of the student resource folder. So if I have a look at up here on the internet, up on the Moodle for this subject, and have a look at the student resource. Whoops. Student resource, that's this one here. So if I download that and put it in, I'm just going to put it on the desktop. And if you open that and have a look at it, you'll see there's scripts for both Ubuntu and Windows. And if I, okay, so I need to extract it first before I can actually edit it. And okay, so I'm going to go to the script, Windows. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put it back up out onto the desktop. Paste. Okay, so I've just put that create user command prompt right there. Now if we edit that, right mouse click and go edit, you'll see what's actually inside it. More info and run anyway. And so what it is just asking to enter a username, enter a password, and then runs this command called net space user, and then the username space, and then the password, and then /add. So you could type this in, that command in, at the command line. So I just Control-C, copy that, go to my virtual machine, run a CMD and run it as an administrator. Yep. And I'm going to just do a right mouse here. Oops, it's remembering the thing that I copied back here. Okay, so the problem with this is I don't have the guest editions installed, so it can't cut and paste from the host desktop to the guest desktop. Okay, so I can demonstrate this in the other version of Windows 10, that's okay, that we've got. So if I flip across to that one, and run a command prompt, CMD, run it as a local administrator, and do a right mouse click here. Okay, maybe not. So let's go to, okay, so let's go to drive C. I'm going to copy it to there from the desktop of my host machine. Okay, so can I copy that to there? I cannot. Okay, so on my Windows 10 machine, can I create a shared folder? Add, go back to the desktop, and I'm just going to go new folder and call it C4 That'll do. And I'm going to select that folder, and I'm going to read it and auto mount it. So I've just created a folder on the desktop, and I'm mounting it into this virtual machine because I've got the guest editions installed on here. And I can prove that by just going to the program files and having a look. Okay, maybe I can't. I thought I'd have Oracle on there. Cannot see it. Is it under here? Nope, can't see it either. Maybe not. Anyway, I've shared the folder, so on the desktop here, back to here, sorry, that one. Let's go to some other desktop, or whatever. Let's go to the desktop. Okay, so let's go, that command, there it is. I'm going to copy that and stick it in the C4 directory. Paste. So I should be able to share that with my virtual machine here. So if I look at this PC, no, I cannot see this shared folder. I've created it as a transient, but I can't actually see it inside here because I don't have the guest editions installed. There you go. Okay, so we might as well do it back on our original then, if I have to install the guest editions anyway. Okay, let's go device, install guest editions. In the long run, I can just type it in on the command line. It doesn't really matter. So if I just go command and run as the administrator. So I'm just going to go net user, then the username's got to be local user, and the password's just going to be password 9, and then /add. That will add a local a user account called local user with a password of password 9, and that completed successfully. And how do we actually know whether that's the case or not? If we have a look at our computer management and go to local users and groups, you'll see it. Local users and groups, there's the users, and here's the local user called local user. Okay, the one that we just created. Can I do that on my Windows 10 machine here? I certainly can. So let's do a CMD and open that as an administrator. We'll do the same thing on this machine. And before I do that, I'm just going to show you that the local user account's not there. So right mouse click on that and go to computer management. Local users and groups, and go users. There is no local user account, but when we go net user local user password 9 and /add. That completes successfully, and when I have a look in here and hit the refresh button, local user now appears. So what I'm going to do is put that there, and we'll see this on the command line, and we'll see local user here. So let's just go Control E to capture that and save it to the desktop and go save. And back in our Word document from the command line, so this is point number 3. So why don't we put one dot two dot and we'll go 3 dot and then enter. Insert the latest picture from this device from the desktop. Get the latest picture and resize it. Okay, so that's number 3. To ensure that the local password group policy for passwords has been applied to this local user, specifically test that the password meets the complexity requirements. Take screenshots of your work. So how do we know that the password meets the complexity requirements? Because you can't view the password. And we haven't set the local policy up on this machine because it's actually a domain computer. However, the password complexity is applied under the group policy. So if we have a look, we're going to come back to this and try to change the user's password, and it's going to say you can't do it because it doesn't comply. You know, if we just try to do it without it complying with the local complexity. So if I just go local security policy and run as administrator, we can see that the group policy has affected the local policy, and that is here, the local security policy. If we have a look at the password policy, and we can see here that the password must meet the complexity requirements. So assuming that we have enabled that under 2.1, then we can't put in like 5 characters like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, because it doesn't meet the complexity. So let's attempt to do that. So if I go right mouse, set the password, and it says here, okay, we go proceed, and if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go OK, it says that it doesn't meet the password policy requirements, and so that's what we want to actually take a picture of. Control E, that shows that the password complexity policy is there. Now I'm going to do that on the local computer as well, which is this one, because it's the same thing. Right mouse click, computer management. And under local users and groups, users, we've created that local user. If I try and change the password, proceed with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and go OK, it's going to give me that same sort of error. Okay, so Control E, and we'll save it to the desktop, and we'll put that in here as number 4. Dot, and we'll go insert picture from the desktop, get the last one, and make it smaller. Yeah, it's roughly right. Okay, so I think that covers these 4 points. Okay. So on the Windows 10 VM, use the appropriate administrative and system tools to complete the following tasks. Create a folder called Shared on the root drive of drive C. Share the shared folder. Configure the security settings so that the administrators have full. Set all other users so that they have read and list. Contents access to this external data. Take screenshots of your work. Okay. Okay, cancel. We can't change the password. Okay, so go to drive C, and we're creating a new folder called shared. Shared, yep. And it says to share the folder, set the administrators have full. Okay, so right mouse click on that and go properties and sharing. We're going to go to advanced sharing, share the folder, and look at the permissions. We're going to remove, we could leave everyone. All other users only have read and list. Well, let's read. And add, say, administrators. So I'm going to pick users. From this location. Yep. Okay, so it's picking out the administrator from this machine. So the administrator is going to have full control and everyone else is going to have read. Now that's only the share permissions, and we need to make sure that our NTFS level permissions match. So we go to the security tab, and I go advanced, and you can see we've got inherited permissions from everyone, so I'm going to disable inheritance and remove all inherited permissions. And here I'm going to edit and add everyone. And they are going to have read and list folder contents, access to this external data. Okay, so they can have list and read, but not execute. Okay, and I'm going to add in administrator, and I'm going to give him full control. Okay, so that matches our share permissions, and everyone else gets list and read. That's what they get. Okay, so they don't even get the ability to execute or run a program or anything like that. So they can list the contents and they can read the file. That's it. Okay. Normally I'd give read and execute as well, but they've been very specific. He just said read and list, not execute. Okay. Take screenshots of your work. Oh, okay. Well, I probably should have done that. Under the shared folder, create. Okay, we need to create extra folders. Okay, so let's go properties, security, and show that we've got the reason why the administrator's got a cross there because the administrator's a disabled account on this local machine. So that's why it's coming. But everyone else has got read and list. Okay, so what I need to do is take a screen capture of that, put that on the desktop, and under here we need to add it in. So let's go insert, picture, device, desktop, drag it down, and make it smaller. Okay, so people can see. Under the shared folder, create a file and directory structure suitable for, so these will involve IT department, new folder. Ooh, okay. So who am I logged in as? I'm logged in as Yoda. So I'm a person who can, I'm just an everyone, so I'm not logged in as administrator. Okay. So I wonder if I've got the rights to change this now. Properties, security, edit, add. Can I add the administrators group? Administrators. So I'm looking at the group. Yes, it's actually the group. Administrators group. So I'm going to add the group in and I'm going to remove just the individual administrator because the person that I'm logged in as here, which is Yoda, yep, is a member of the administrators group, so he's got rights to actually create directories and stuff. Got full control actually. Okay, so I probably should change the share permissions to be that way as well. Okay, permissions, because the administrator is remove, add administrators, so I get the group rather than just the person. Yep, and the group's going to have full control and everyone else is going to have read. That's it. Okay, so we've sorted that out, which means that under here I can now create folders. IT department, and oh, actually, so it's IT director. Continue. Okay, so new folder, database administration. Database administration. The A is a lowercase. Okay. Network administration. System administration. System administration and data services. New folder. Data services. Okay. So I think I've created a folder. Actually, all of these things should have been in a folder called IT department. Okay. So I was actually right the first time, IT department. IT department. And Control A and all those things. Let's put them in there. Continue. Do this for all current items. Okay, so now the IT department's got all these folders. Okay, main folder called that, subfolders called that. Take a screenshot of your work. Okay, so we'll be able to see shared IT department in all of this. So I'll just go Control E to the desktop and save it. Create a file called instructions.txt. Okay. Copy this file to the IT department main folder. Okay, so they want to do everything via command line at the moment. CMD. Let's run as an administrator. Yep. Okay, so let's just go change directory back to the root directory. Create a file called instructions.txt. Okay, so we create it first and then we use the command line to perform the following manipulations to this instructions file. Okay, so we create a new file here. Okay, can we go new? That's folder. Okay. Let's go new file called instructions. Instructions.txt. The .txt is attached to the end of it anyway, and I'm going to move that, cut it, and I'm going to put it into the root directory. Paste. Okay. Now, if we want to know that it's actually got the instructions.txt, the way you can do that is by going View, Options, View, and stop hiding the extensions for known file types. Okay, and apply. And you'll see that it's instructions.txt. Okay, so that's the easy way to find it. So if I do a in here, if I do a dir, you'll see that I've got instructions.txt there. So what they want us to do using the command line, perform the following. Okay, copy this file to the IT department main folder. So I go copy, whoops, back to here. So copy instructions.txt Oh, I can't spell. Instructions. Instructions.txt to the folder shared. So I've gone root directory shared / IT department. Okay. Okay. The problem is it's got a space, so it doesn't like having a space, but it wants us to do it from the command line. So what you do is the reverse. You change directory to shared, dir, and you've got the IT department. So we're going to change directory to the IT department. So now we're in the IT department. So what we're going to do now is we're going to copy drive C root directory instructions.txt. So we've copied from the root directory to this IT department directory. So if I do a dir, you'll see the 4 directories plus the the instructions.txt. Okay. Using the command perform the following manipulations, copy this to the IT, okay, copy this file into each of the subfolders. Yeah, because it says use the command line. Okay. Copy this file into each of the subfolders under the IT department main folder. Rename each version of the file under the subfolder according to the team name. Instructions.txt under the IT subfolder becomes the IT director instructions.txt. Okay, so let's see how this works. If we copy delete the file, so we'll delete this instructions.txt at 4.4. It doesn't say that we, oh yeah, take screenshots of your work, okay. What have I done here? Okay, I've obviously overwritten something here. Okay. Use the command line to perform the following manipulation using this instructions file. Copy this. Okay, we've done that, so I've got to take a screenshot. Okay, so let's go Control E, screenshot to the desktop, save it. Back into here, so I should insert picture, device, desktop, bottom one, and make it smaller. That probably should be copy that to there, isn't it? Control V. Copy this file to the main, yeah, okay. Copy this file to each of the subfolders. Okay. And rename it. I wonder if I can do that in one hit. Okay. So where am I at the moment? So let's go copy. Instructions.txt txt to data services backslash data services. Instructions.txt. I reckon there's too many spaces there and that's not going to work. I'm going to put this in quotes to see if I can make it work that way. So what I'm doing now is I'm saying copy that to that. Let's see if that works. One file copied. Okay. So dir data services if I put it in quotes, will it work? Yeah, data services instructions.txt. Yep, okay. So that'll show how to, we've copied it to the other directory and changed the name from the original name, which really covers, I think, 4.2 and 4.3. Yep. And shows when you do a dir that it works. Okay, so let's screen capture that, showing that it's worked. Control E and save it to the desktop and import it in here. So we'll put it in under here, will do. Let's go insert picture device desktop, get the bottom one and change the size. So it's, whoops, I think I've got the wrong thing. Okay, delete. Insert picture device desktop 1016. Ooh, okay. So I'm not 100% sure whether, let's do a control 1023, let's go control E. $22.40. Let's go to desktop and go save. Refresh. It's this one here. It puts a different, because it's local win rather than the other one. Okay, local win. So insert that one. Okay, so we can see under that that does 4.2, 4.3. And obviously if you can do it for one, you can do it for all the others. So I'm happy for people to just put one of these in. That's okay. Delete the file under the IT department. So obviously the deleting functions, you know, the same sort of thing. If I copy, sorry, need to click in there. Copy instructions.txt to test.txt. dir, you'll see that it's got the test. And to delete a file is as simple as del test.txt. That deletes it, and if I do a dir, you can see that that test file that's there, I've deleted and it's no longer there. So the delete function works quite fine from the command line, and we could screen capture that and stick that there as well. Delete instructions. .txt and dir, and you'll see instructions is there but no longer there. So screen capture, desktop, save it, and we could put that in under here. So insert picture, device, desktop, get the last one, that's the local one, and make it smaller. Okay, so we've deleted it. To test the logon as local user, to test this, log on as local user to ensure data security requirements are met. Specifically test out to have read-only and list folder contents access to the shared folder. Take screenshots of your work and then log off local user. So what we're going to do is log off Yoda, sign out. Going to log on as a different local user whose password let's go password 9. Local user was already there as one of the accounts that was there. Okay, so this creates a new profile on the local machine. While logged in, create a text file. After creating the file, use the administrator account to take ownership of that file. Okay. So we'll just go yes, yes, yes. Change them all to no's. Accept. Okay, maybe later. Okay, so what we want to do is see what sort of access we've got on drive C to the shared folder, data services, we can see in that, but we can't file save. So we don't have permission, see the owner of the file to obtain permission. So the data services instructions, we don't have permission. So we can read it, but we can't actually save or do anything else with it. So Control E, desktop, save it. Let's put that would be there. So we go insert, picture, device, desktop, get the last local win one, and we'll just make that smaller. Okay, so while logged in as, it says log off local user, but then the very next thing it says while logged on as local user. So okay, don't log off until you've done this. Create a file called take from user.txt. Okay, so obviously we can't, don't save, we can't go new. Can we create a new file in here? I don't think so. But I can go new file on here, and I'm going to call this take underscore from underscore user dot txt. Okay, so that file is there. Can I copy that somewhere else? Can I go to here, for example, paste? You'd need to provide permissions to be able to do that. Obviously I can't. Yeah, it's denied because I've got read and list and that's it. So I can't do it there. Can I do it there? Paste. Again, don't have access. Shared. Paste. Don't have access there. What about drive C? I don't think I've got access there either. Paste. Can I go continue? Well, I'd have to put permissions. So the only real place that I can put anything is on my desktop, essentially in my profile. And I might be able to put it in my documents. Paste. Take from user. Okay, so there and there. So what I want to do is now just see if I can take ownership over that with the administrator account. So if I look at the properties of that and look at the security and look at the advanced, you can currently see that local user is the current owner of this file. So what I want to do is change the owner. Enter an admin username and password. Yoda password. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter the object name to select. So I'm going to go advanced, find now. I'm going to pick the administrator account, which is currently down. And so now what I've done is I have taken ownership over that file. Okay, so we're going to go Control E and save that to the desktop, and we're going to put that in here. Insert picture device from the desktop. Get the last one from the local Win10, and that shows how to take ownership over a file. Now you do have to provide administrator sort of level privileges to do that. You have to be an administrator to be able to take ownership over somebody else's file, which is a bit tricky, isn't it? Okay, so we've done that. Configure the system. No, okay. On Windows 10, use the appropriate administrative and system tools to complete the following task. 1. Configure the system settings to display the legal notice, no admittance, authorized users only. Can I copy that? Control C. Test this on the local user and capture a screenshot of the message displayed at logon. Okay. So, I'm going to log off or sign out and sign into Yoda, who is an administrator. Okay, so I'm going to search for the local security policy. I should have run it as an administrator. Let's kill that. Local and run as administrator. I am an administrator, but that's okay. So here on in the local policies security options, I think. Yep, I can go down to interactive logons. Message text for users attempting to log on. Okay, so this is a legal notice. So message title, I'm going to call this legal notice. Okay. The message is going to be, can I go Control V? No, I can't. So let's get no admit. Authorized users only. Okay, I think I've spelt that all correctly. I'm just going to put that there like that, and go Control E. And let's go desktop and save it. And I'll go OK. So you'll see that that's the title, and I probably could have done it here actually. But now I want to test it, so I'm going to sign out of Yoda and sign in as local user. And we can see legal notice, no admittance, all that sort of stuff. Control E and desktop, save, and I can sign in as local user. Okay, so we need the 2 screenshots in here. So I'm going to go insert pictures, device, desktop. It's going to be the second last and the last one. So I'm going to go second last and insert. So this is me setting it up. and then picture, device, desktop. The last one, and that's the picture of it. How it looks when you do that. Okay, so task 4.4, intermittent dropouts. Okay, so what we're going to do is use some let's log in as Yoda, password 9. Okay, we're going to use the NS lookup, and I'm also going to screenshots along with it showing NS lookup, couple of troubleshooting techniques. Okay, so CMD. So if I go NS lookup www.google.com.au, it'll show you our local server, our domain controller, and also the answers that you get of, which is our DNS server. That's our local DNS server. And the IP address of Google. Okay, so that will be one of them, and I'm just wondering whether I can actually get it in here. I'm going to go trace routes. If I go -D, that stops the DNS lookup, but I might just keep it in there and go www.google.com.au. So this is two different tools that you might use for troubleshooting connectivity to the outside world, to google.com.au. So here is a NS lookup, and here is a trace route, and that shows us via pings the actual path all the way out to, and also the DNS name of the server as well, to get to its IP address. And it's interesting because when we looked it up, google.com.au, the first time we actually got 142.250.204.3, and a couple of seconds later we got a different IP address. That's because it's actually a cluster of machines, not just one. So yeah, okay, but that's troubleshooting. So what I'm going to do is screen capture that, and let's just go so it's just like that. Control E, desktop, and save. And down here I'll just insert picture, device, and from the desktop get the last of the local Win 10s, and what we'll do is we'll just make that a bit smaller. And so NS lookup so troubleshooting tools. Tools. So I'm just going to go NS lookup. shows us the IP address of the local DNS and the DNS server and the destination. Host IP. I've got traceroute. Shows the path to the DNS resolved host and DNSs. I'm going to put an apostrophe there. DNSs each step along the way. Each intervening device, if possible. Okay. So let's put Control B, make that bold. Traceroute. Control B. Okay. Numerical results of the IP address and the other measures help to evaluate the situation, determine the PC's performance. Okay. At least one other troubleshooting tool of your choice. Okay, so we've done NS lookup and one other. Okay, so there's the examples. Part 5 is Ubuntu and subject of a different video. So we'll end this video just here.